Good morning, everybody. It's time for another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. And today we're finally working on the Vanderhall. I'm gonna do some lighting, some rear lighting to the back of this, and maybe put on turn signals and stuff like that I've been wanting to do. Maybe, I don't know. Definitely gonna do the rear brake light mod today though. But I need to take the car from right here and turn it around so I can look at the back with the extra lighting. In 3, 2, and just like that. So hopefully this works a little bit better on this side. I've got some more light over here, but it's just if I back it in over here, then all this stuff's in the way because it's pretty narrow right here. Like obviously it would fit, but I don't know. So I feel like at least if I put it there, I can get a little bit more light in underneath here. And of course I've got the flashlight and stuff. So yeah, that'll have to work. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Okay, so with that panel pulled out of here, right, so this was here, right, you pull that out of the way, it gets completely out of the way, which is nice. You can get to all your electrical connections, and so luckily it's all pretty accessible, and there are a ton of, there's a lot going on underneath here. You can see this is LED because these brake lights or these tail lights and reverse lights, everything, this is all one LED fuse or one LED pod or whatever. So this is these are resistors for your LED lighting that they've already put in there, of course. Basically, I'm gonna get some more light in here. Well, let's see. I'm gonna put this here. So there's a brown wire with a little bit of yellow on it. It's the bottom left pin in this. And thanks to one of the other forum members, you can actually, he did the research and figured this out, but it's this bottom wire. It's a brown wire with a yellow stripe on it. That evidently is the brake light. I'm gonna verify that, of course, before I splice into it, but supposedly that's your positive brake light for like a third brake light, which is what we're gonna be using. So I'm gonna splice into that one with a little connector that I've got that just pinches on this, and you can splice in your other wire and run ground to whatever ground black wire you want. So I'm gonna tap into this and show you what it all looks like. And then I gotta figure out a way to mount the brake light up to this, because right now there's obviously nothing here to mount to. I've seen some guys making some double-sided tape brackets to go here to line it up, and obviously I may do the same thing. Obviously clean this off really well underneath here because it's pretty dirty. Get some alcohol and some surface prep or something and clean that all off. In line with all this, I'm going to do a brake light flashing module so that when I hit the brakes, the center, what will be third brake light, will flash also, because I think that'll help with people being able to see this thing from behind when you step on the brakes. Right now I think the LED lights that are on running all the time, even in the middle of the day, are already pretty bright. So then if you step on the brakes, there's not a huge change between your tail light being on and the brake light being pressed, or the brakes being pressed. So I think that's what's going to be nice about a third brake light that's just always off and then only comes on when you press the brakes. That'll help people visually see, and especially if it flashes, that'll help people see that you've actually pressed the brakes. Because I've noticed a couple times people that are pretty close behind me, or maybe aren't that close behind me, when I hit the brakes on this, I seem to see that they take a second to realize that I'm slowing down, and you definitely don't want to be run over in this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna get started on unboxing the light itself and figuring out some kind of bracket to go on here, made out of some aluminum scrap or something I probably have laying around to make a bracket, and double-sided tape it to the bottom of this, because I don't want to put any bolts or anything through here, although it probably wouldn't look terrible if you did it just right, but then you're drilling through your little tail section here. So I don't know, we'll see what I come up with. Okay, so I busted out the soldering iron and actually soldered up some of these connections to figure out what exactly was going on with this. Determined that it will do tail light function, like a running light, brake light, and turn signals all in this one little strip, which is kind of neat, but I don't need the turn signals because this is going to be mounted at the very center of the tail of the car. So that's really not that important. I'm going to use it just as a third brake light that's always off normally, and then when you press the brake, turned on the light, and I've got this little flasher module to also make the light flash when it needs to, or when you push the brake, it's going to flash instead of just coming on solid. So you can actually adjust with these little potentiometers here, how many times it flashes and how fast it does. So I've adjusted those kind of where I like them, and I was going to show you guys with just a battery I had laying around here exactly how that's going to work. So basically all I've got is the positive side of the light is hooked up to this black cable on the flasher. The white wire is now your ground, and the red wire is your 12-volt source to the plug of the car. So basically this is going to get grounded on this side, and the 12-volt source, it's hard to see, the 12-volt wire, the red wire, is going to be as if you were applying the brakes. So if I do this, that's what it would look like if you step on the brake, and it would hold it, and as soon as you let off, it comes off. So again, if I apply the brakes, and then if I let off the brakes, it comes back off. So I'm just working with these two wires at this point. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to clean this up and heat shrink that, obviously. Essentially cap these off and tape those up so that they're not touching anything potentially, even though they wouldn't actually probably do anything. And then I'm going to heat shrink this up as well and add a wire here so that it's all coming off one wire. So I've got two wires coming down to the plug that's on the car. I'm going to bundle all this up and out of the way to where my wire coming off my light is the only wire exposed to the elements, and this will get all tucked underneath that cover that panel that I pulled off. This will get tucked underneath there and buttoned up real nice and neat. And I've just got the two wires then, the ground and the positive wire going to the 12-volt side of the plug that I'm tapping into on the car.
2 hours later.
Okay, so this is what I ended up with. I took a flat piece of aluminum that I had that I used to make the wind wings out of, or used to make some of the mounts for the wind wings, and bent that by hand until it pretty closely matched the back of the Vanderhall. Wired this all up, soldered all the connections inside there, and heat shrunk those up. I'm going to zip tie this when I zip tie it inside the Vanderhall to the other plug and harness and everything that's in there. But then these are for the T-taps that I used to tap into the original harness that's in there that's for the third brake light. So that's all I've got to do. Those T-taps are already on the plug. You just plug these in once you mount this all up, real easy. But as far as going through this skid, or the little cover, which I need to clean, obviously, I think I'm just going to notch this or something so that the wires can go down in there, so I'm not wrapping them up and around this. I don't know what kind of gap is between there. Probably not a lot, because these look like they sit pretty flat against there. I mean, if I had been real smart, I would have made this have plugs on it somewhere out here, so you could run the cord through a hole and then plug in here. But I'm being lazy, and I don't feel like making another plug spliced in here, but that would be the right way to do it. That would be much cleaner looking or whatever, but I'm being lazy. Even though I have tons of time right now, I don't feel like it. So I'm going to throw this on there and run it down through there and see how it goes. Hook it all up and then give you guys a final look. Okay, so I hooked it up down here, you know, just with some T-connectors, and clean that up so it's just nice and pretty. And it definitely works now. So key in, accessory mode, no light, and brakes. I'd say that works good. Okay, so it is done. Let me grab the flashlight and show you guys what it looks like. Here it is on the back, looking nice, tucked up under there. So I went ahead and put like one of these not hose clamp things, but this is like a little cable clamp thing, like cable management. It loops around and then goes through the other. There's that nut and the bolt that hold it all on there. I went ahead and threw that on there to hold the cord back towards the middle, and so that would go from the middle straight back. I did go ahead and notch my cover, because as this went down in there, you can see how close it gets. It was pinching against this. As you went to tighten everything down, it was going to be real tight on that. Now it's actually loose. it makes it just past the bottom edge of the frame, so it's actually loose in there. I'll probably go ahead and do a little sticky cable management thing here just to keep it up. But I mean, it's obviously not going to fall down anywhere necessarily. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up and put something up there. I'm really pretty tempted to bolt this on as well. It's just double-sided tape, which I could run a bead of silicone around it to help it really keep it on there. But you know, the more I think about it, the more I probably should just, you know, drill straight through here and put one nut and bolt on it. Do the same bolts that the rest of the car is covered in, so it would look real clean. Just one single solitary bolt through here with a nut on the back side to hold this on, and then you'd never have to even worry about it. And you could remove it if you needed to without having to redo the double-sided tape. Like I say, it's on there with double-sided tape now. It's pretty strong stuff. It probably will hold just fine. I don't know. But anyways, I didn't bother showing you the rest of it. Literally, it was the same way it was hooked up before. I just zip tied it to some of the other components in there to keep stuff out of the way, but not so tight that it was, you know, or not so much that it was super tight. So yeah, it's all done. It works like a champ. I'll show you what that looks like here right now. And brakes. So I think that looks great. No one's gonna even know it's not factory. You know, again, I think I'm gonna go ahead and bolt it on and just run a single bolt through here. Actually, it would be like right there, right above my no push decal, but I can always redo that. But it would be right there. But either way, whatever. Could just run it with double-sided tape and put a little bead of silicone or shoe glue or something on there just to really try to keep it to adhere better. But definitely worth doing. I think that's gonna be a lot better for people behind me being able to see that I'm slowing down, because they already don't see this thing as it is. So that's it for today, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night.